Welcome back to Desk Careers. I'm so excited to bring another incredible guest. Today we are meeting with Talal Al Nawab, who is the founder of Integra Education. Welcome, Talal.
Hi there, Maria. How are you?
I'm great. It's so exciting to have you here. I know that you have spoken with our community already at the Careers Fair that we've recently just celebrated. And it's so great to have you here and learn a little bit about the founder behind the work you do, and then talk to us a little bit more about the work that you do. So let's start right there. What is it like to be the founder of an organization such as yours?
Well, it's definitely, I think it's definitely challenging being a founder generally. This is the first business that I've set up myself. I've previously worked for bigger companies, smaller companies. So I've seen quite a wide spectrum of company sizes. But I was working in the startup community, so to speak, beforehand. So I understood some of the complexities of doing your own thing. But until you step into it yourself and try it for yourself, you don't feel the full brunt of kind of what it entails. So it's definitely been a great learning process over the last couple of years. I founded the company in summer of 2019, and of course, having COVID hit during your first year is also an incredible challenge. But again, it's all been learning to get through that environment. There's been a lot of challenges within education, as I'm sure you're also well aware. Distance learning, the stopping of, or canceling, I should say, of school leaving examinations, GCSEs, A levels. It's been a very challenging environment. Obviously, running my own business in that time has been interesting. It's been tough at times, but I think now we're definitely in a better place today. So I'm definitely grateful for that. But it's been a very interesting 2 years.
I know as a founder myself that it's one thing being a founder with these incredible ideas. And I think founders are vision seers, they're entrepreneurs, they're constantly seeing these opportunities. But what would you say is the key skill that you have gained as a founder to ensure that you're not just talking about a great initiative, but that it's actually a profitable enterprise?
Yeah, I think you have to be clear about a few things. You have to be clear about what it is exactly that you are delivering. I think it always starts with making sure you're delivering something of value to your clients, and that's where things have to start, as far as I'm concerned, because that's really what this is about. Any business should be about providing value to your clients, basically. And from there, you talk about being profitable. Then I guess it's about revising your pricing models, pricing structures. Being I guess very kind of clear and transparent about that. Looking at the market, what else is out there? Are you pricing your services fairly, given what you're doing, given your experience levels, etc. So I think it's a complex problem, and that again takes time to kind of iterate. For me, having worked in the industry for a couple of years before I set up the business, I saw the way a company in this space should be run, or the kind of best practices and the pitfalls. So for me, it was a learning experience from that, and hopefully, I took the things I learned over that period and managed to implement them in my business. But again, I've learned things along the way, of course, as well. But I think it's a case of really keeping an eye on the fact that you are delivering value for your clients. You're continuing to improve your services, and then iterating from there, really.
Incredible. And I know we have several business students, or even students taking on other subjects, and they have a great business idea, and they have this hope to one day own their own enterprise. And this is why we're having this conversation, because founders are doers. They're not just vision seekers. They actually have to take these actions. Would you say the learning curve was steep when you first started, or did you feel prepared based on your academic experiences?
I think I was prepared to deliver services because I'd been doing that for quite a while. I was less prepared, obviously, for the actual dealing with client side, managing clients' expectations from the very beginning of meeting with the client, or meeting with a prospective client, I should say, all the way through to selling work, and then through to obviously managing the whole client experience, right? So I think managing the front to back client experience was something that you're only going to learn that by being a founder or by being the owner of your business, because otherwise someone or multiple people will be responsible for some part of that chain, whether it's getting feedback from the client, or managing the invoicing process, or managing the feedback after the process. For you to be the founder and person running the business, you only find that out for yourself once you've done that.
Okay, Talal, let's go in deeper. Talk to us about Integra Education. What is it? What's the aim? What's the mission? And why is this an important service?
So the overall aim of the business really is really to provide mentorship and guidance for students on their journey to university, but also beyond that. The aim of what we do is not just delivering test preparation, for example, for SAT, ACT, or helping students with applications to university. It's also helping them with the kind of wider life skills, with building responsibility, accountability, skills which are going to hopefully take them beyond school and take them into adult life. And that's what's really most important. When you get into university, as most adults know, once you leave the nest, so to speak, your parents are not there to oversee what you do anymore. You're on your own 2 feet. You've got to make your own decisions. Your own choices directly impact you and no one else. I think that's what students have to realize from a relatively early age. Maybe not when they're 3 years old, but once they get to 14, 15, 16, 17, I think they should start to realize that, and they should start to fully understand what that entails. I think a lot of students tend to get shielded from that because of their environments. And I think having someone who's objective, who's gone through it fairly recently, and can give them, structured guidance and objective guidance on how they should, be preparing themselves for adult life. That's what Integra Education really is all about. And that's packaged into the services that we do, whether it's SAT, ACT test preparation, or obviously university admissions counseling or tutoring work. The wider mentorship angle is really what's important, what's most important, how we, I guess, try and differentiate ourselves.
Why would a young person want to work with Integra Education?
A young person would want to work with us because we will help give them life skills, I would say, which are going to serve them well once they get past school. We've seen our students have success when it comes to applications to universities, when it comes to improving their testing scores. But over and above that, I would say it's the overall learnings that they will get by working with us, basically. So that's what I would say our real value is, over and above the actual pure results.
All right, I'm going to take you backwards in time to when you were a younger student. I know that you had a broad range of interests, from math to physics, economics, and then French language. You graduated from Cambridge University with an engineering degree. You did your master's degree in engineering in 2014. And you worked with Deloitte for a little while as a strategy consultant. I'm just thinking about every student wanting to be an engineer. I don't know, connect the dots for me, because how does a master's of engineering turn into Integra Education? And I love that you did this But what I want to do is share the thought process behind it, the big why and the big, how is that fulfilling you after doing this type of education?
So, yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. It's been a very interesting journey. I mean, I think my story is quite, it's definitely quite unique, because I did come from, London to Dubai and then back to the UK to study engineering at Cambridge. And then I went into business consulting. I'd previously done in banking, investment banking internship. I went into strategy consulting for a couple of years, and I went into industry again within a strategy and finance role, and then I went into the education world, and this is back in early 2017. So it's been a roller coaster ride, and I think my story is testament to the fact that it sometimes does take time. This is fed into the reason why I guess I do what I do as well. It takes time to find what you feel is a passion of yours, that you can turn into a career, and something which you feel you're actually having, making an impact on people's lives. And I think that's where, for me, that's what took me down this path, down this education road, was that I felt like I could be having more impact on people directly and working with people more directly. And I felt that working with young people particularly obviously is a great way to be able to try and shape someone and have a positive impact on them while they're still at that age where they're in those formative years. So that was the reason why I chose to go down the education path, having experienced all these other things. I just didn't really feel that natural passion for or that impact within. So it took me down that road, and I've been in the education industry for formally for over 4 years now, and yeah, it's something which I start to feel that impact. I've been working one-on-one with students, working directly with students, and seeing the outcomes of that work. Sometimes it's obviously like with any career path, like with anything you do, it's not always rosy, right? You have the times where students don't perform how you want them to. And I've been fortunate that's been in a minority of cases. I guess it's also down to the work I do, right? When you care about something and you make an effort, generally speaking, the results tend to be more on the positive side. But, you have obviously tougher times as well with this industry, and that can be tough to manage emotionally, right? You work in a school, that some students don't have the outcomes they always want. But again, you always try and remind people that it's about the journey, not the end destination, right? That's something that gets thrown out there sometimes, and it can sound a bit corny, but it's the truth, right? You have to enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, you're always going to be seeking an end goal, and there's always going to be a new end goal. There's always going to be a new end goal. But end of the day, it's not about the university you get into. It's about how hard did you work? How much work did you put in to kind of get there, if you know what I mean? That's what I try and also remind my students.
And I find that's really interesting based on the work that you do and helping students to get to the university of their dreams. That's really what you're doing. When you're sharing your story with your clients and your students, how does that shape their comfort zone in their preparing for their future? Do you find that by talking to them about your experiences, do you find that because you were a student of Cambridge University, that puts you in a highly trustworthy, credible kind of platform and they're willing to listen? You did a very dignified degree. You went on to do a master's degree. Do you find that these experiences highlight the success levels that bring your clients to you?
I think it certainly doesn't hurt to have a degree from the university like Cambridge. It's definitely something that gives name credibility to the work that I do. It shows that I went through that process myself to get into a school of that level, of that caliber. And so when I ask students to work hard, hopefully it comes with a bit more, from a place where I did it myself, right, which always helps. I think, but beyond that, for me, it's beyond the kind of name credibility. It's what's more important really once you start to meet with families and work with students is, it's more about the work you do at that very moment, right? Whatever comes before it, the degrees and the names and things that might help, or that might entice clients to come to you, and it does obviously have an impact. But ultimately, it's about the work you do once you start working with them. Everything else before it doesn't really have that much of an impact. But no, it's certainly having that, the kind of fact that I've been there, I think certainly, of course, it's something which a lot of families ask about, and how's my experience and how did you get there? And that's, of course, what they want for their kids as well, is to aspire to go to as good a university as they can.
Incredible. What would you say your top 3 tips are for a young person considering university as a pathway?
Top 3 tips. Number 1 is, if you want to get into the best university you can, work hard. Sounds simple, but there's no shortcuts. Admissions. I always say this to clients: there's no, admissions is there's no kind of cheat codes. Admissions is based pretty much purely on merit. You have to have a certain level of achievement, academic achievement, particularly if you want to go to a great university or a good university. So that's number 1. Is work hard. Number 2 is be curious, explore your passions from as early an age as possible. That's why I like to work with students from as young as year 10, year 11. Start to do summer internships, do summer academic programs at universities or various foundations, institutions. There's a lot that are offered, even for young people. Shadow people in your network, your father or mother's work colleagues. Do things to kind of get out there and explore, because by the time you get to year 10, year 11, you'd be surprised, but university is going to come real quick. Beginning of year 13, you've got to apply to university. You have no idea what you want to do. And that's where you're going to spend the next 3 to 4 years of your life, right? So think about these things from an early age as possible. It definitely pays off. And the final thing I would say, so work hard, be curious, and the final thing I would say is do your research on universities and degree programs. Do your own homework. All the information is actually, is often out there for you to go and find out about, what universities are, there are out in the ecosystem, what they're offering. You can read about, syllabuses of different programs. How much do they appeal to you? So again, explore and do your diligence. The beauty of the internet is we have a lot of information available to us. So it's up to us to go out there and find it, and do something with it. So that's the third tip.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. If you could go back in time, would you repeat that degree or would you do something different?
I've had that question before. To be honest with you, I genuinely feel like you are where you are because of the experiences you've gone through. So I feel like that question is a very difficult one to answer. I am where I am now. That's I guess that's all I could really say. Would I change it if I went back? Possibly. I didn't become an engineer, right? But at the same time, I learned a lot from that experience. I met a lot of great people who I'm, some of my closest friends today I met in Cambridge doing engineering, or being in that environment. So it's a hard one to say, but I'll just leave it at the fact that I am where I am because of doing that degree.
And I think that's exactly what it is. We are who we are based on our life experiences.
Exactly.
So that was amazing. Thank you so much, Talal. And that brings us to the end of an incredible conversation. Today we spoke with Talal Al-Nawab, who is the founder of Integra Education. How can we find you, Talal?
So our website is www.integraeducation.net, and my personal email is Talal, Talal @integraeducation.net.
Fantastic. And we'll see you all at our next Deaf Careers Digital Spotlight.